Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the NFL Weekly Board Meeting with Bully the Board. As always, it's your boys, Kevin, Seth, and Steve with you. Lots to break down. Officially more than halfway through the season now. So it's been a whirlwind. We got a lot to break down. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it.
Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please, I'm trying to get paid. Not today, not today.
Welcome in, everyone. Again, appreciate you joining us for this weekly board meeting, NFL edition. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. We do these every single week, both for NFL and for college. We are here grinding. We are here breaking down the games, breaking down the value from the market perspective, from the model's perspective, doing all these things for you guys. So please, we would greatly appreciate it if you guys give us that like and subscribe. Helps us out tremendously. So, all right, boys, like I said, more than halfway through officially with the NFL season here. So again, another just like gut punch, like where has time gone? Pretty wild.
Sheesh.
Yeah, really wild. So what is your what's the theme? Give me your theme, if you will, for the season so far. Takeaways from one or two teams or one or two divisions, because I do want to break down some division specific stuff. But what's your takeaway from the NFL so far?
Ravens look better and better every week, even when they play, I don't know, weaker opponents in the Cardinals and get backdoored in an ugly game. And then Dolphins kind of doing what the Dolphins doing, like start out really good, start out really hot, got these really crazy potent offense, really crazy play calls. And then if teams figure them out, what's going on there? Obviously they came out with New England and handedly, but obviously as we reflect back halfway through, to me, that's the tale of that team. It's, they play bad teams, they play good teams, and you get two different results. And then is Brock Purdy and really more specifically the 49ers defense coming back to earth. Those are, to me, the standouts. And the last one, I guess we'll talk about, I'm sure, the Jags just coming alive.
Yeah, no, I'd spot on with all that. Miami, still feeling good about Miami's chances going in here. Steelers, I'm very confused about who this team was. They lost to the Jags last week, but are they going to hit their 500 mark? But I guess two things that really shocked me is, one, the Broncos upsetting Kansas City for the first time in Lord knows how long. What was that about?
2 weeks too late.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And then, we're kind of seeing this fall to earth for Green Bay. And I listen, I want to say that I'm trying to hide my happiness here. And I want to say that I'm sad about that because of our positions. But as a Bears fan, there's just a small part of me that will always be happy about that. So
they look bad.
Real bad. Yeah. And then I guess my one confusing thing that's still left for me is, obviously the Raiders lost, and then they lost and they didn't cover for us. But you look, they're statistically speaking, they're still in the AFC West runnings, and now Josh McDaniels is gone, the GM's gone there. So are they going to clean house? Are we going to see a complete? Well, I guess the deadline passed, right?
That made no sense. They did all this 1 day too late. They benched Jimmy. What the hell? You can't tell me that the Minnesota Vikings weren't buying Jimmy.
Right.
They weren't buyers. They had to be.
Yeah. I don't know what I mean. Seth, we were just real quick, like we were talking earlier, like that over 6.5, that bet's down. It's like, hey, let's walk back off the ledge. The house is not on fire. I'm with you. The house is on fire. It's engulfed.
Yeah.
It's engulfed.
It's engulfed. Yeah. Nobody can save us. Nobody can save us. I mean, that came out of nowhere. There was a report yesterday that dropped that Devontae went to the team with his agent, said, hey, is there something we can work out here where, we move on? I'm flexible. And they told him out just straight up, no, we're not trading you. I'm very confused by this. Why do you wait to do this today if you're Mark Davis? Like, just do this.
Raiders gonna Raider, baby. Yeah, that shit is really weird down there. But trade deadline came and went, and some contenders made a few big moves. I mean, there were some particularly interesting moves for some of these big name defenses, and also like Commanders unloading their talent. Like there's some interesting things that develop. But let's break down a couple of items or a couple of things in each conference real quick. So let's do AFC and then we'll do NFC here. So in the AFC, top dog, right? No question. Or is there? Maybe you said Ravens are maybe better than we were giving them credit for, but is KC not the top dog still?
No, they're the top dog. 5 turnovers. I mean, that game isn't to me disturbing. I'm not trying to sell Kansas City. I just like if we look at what actually happens kind of in in NFL and what kind of teams look like, in my opinion, that win. I don't say they start slow because they don't necessarily start slow, but it is more of a gradual increase throughout the season, and kind of that elite play comes at the later end to the playoffs. And the Ravens remind me of a team like that where they're not bad. I mean, this team's only lost 2 games,
Right.
but they're just getting better and better and better. And then when they hit roadblocks in one way of their game, they figure it out a different way. Like they're just chugging along. I'm still very, very impressed by Kansas City's defense. Like this defense is, I don't know if it's legitimate or not legitimate or whatever. I mean, I think it is. I mean, we're hundreds of plays in at this point, but them winning games in that way is going to be really interesting. And if they can continue to be that good on defense and even that good on offense, like that'll be an interesting team. So those to me in the AFC, of course, there's a bunch of talent, but those are the 2 that stand out. We have tickets for Dolphins, and the Dolphins have overperformed up into this point. My question would be, does that sustain? And I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Obviously, huge matchup this week between them in Germany, baby. Alvidasen, assholes, right? Yeah, that's gonna be dope. So yeah, there's actually in this upcoming week, there's like a great matchups in every single freaking time slot. It's gonna be a jam-packed weekend. Literally, as soon as you wake up, boom, Dolphins, Chiefs. I think in the early slated games, which kicks off now at, I guess, again, I'm messing up with this time zone shit, but an hour later in Arizona times. But in the early slate, you have Seahawks, Ravens, 5-2 and 6-2 team. Later in the day, you got Cowboys, Eagles. Sunday night game is Bills, Bengals. Like stacked slate. So a lot of interesting matchups for sure.
Can we talk about those 2 teams, Bills, Bengals? This is like the tale of 2 different teams on 2 different trajectories. I think the Bills are a good team. I don't think that this is a regression. I think this is an injury issue, but they are fucking banged up on defense and they are real thin. I think they went and traded for cornerback help, if I'm not mistaken, at the trade deadline. And then the Bengals going into San Francisco and doing their damn thing. Burrow was trucking people. Quite frankly, I believe, he's back. He looks to be completely healthy. We're probably 1 week too late to buy the Bengals, but it feels like this is a good buy spot now. Any thoughts?
No, yeah, no. Also, yeah. No, I think that's spot on. I will say the one thing I don't know, and it's early, right? We're still at the halfway point ish. There's mathematically a ton of time left, but the Bengals started slow because of that Burrow injury, and I don't know if they can catch up to Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore plays their potential. Baltimore 6-2, Bengals 4-3. They still have that. Baltimore says that bye to go. But with that being said, this is just like, Bengals can get into a wild card spot. Yeah, you're right. I'm scared. I'm scared if I'm the AFC. I've been put on notice. Joe Burrow is back. I'm with you, Seth. I want to see the Bills team get healthy, but I'm starting to have my concerns. And yeah, for Miami, two bad losses against 2 really good teams. And I would say bad. They one really bad loss and one loss, right? But if they could continue to hit their stride, Jalen Ramsey's back now. I'm curious to see what the upside of this Dolphins team can be.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. They're getting kind of right at getting healthy on defense, which is right now where they're kind of quote unquote struggling. But to me, the unless they figure something else out, they're very impressive. They're very fast. But it's clear if you can get pressure with 4 and you can play man and you can actually get pressure, like it's not like they are fallible. Like and we'll see. The other team, I got to play a hand up. I was talking about buying, the Rams, and I don't know that I was wrong. I'll just say I was wrong. But like, I think there's some nuance there. But I think maybe the bigger question here to that is, who's Dallas? Who the hell is Dallas?
Right.
Are they good? Are they bad? I don't know. Or is their defense just so good because their defense was making plays in that game? And I think, that changes that dynamic of things when they're getting multiple scores via defense.
Yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay. One other team I want to touch on real quick in the AFC before we focus on NFC.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, all good. I mean, gotta give credit where credit is due here to the Jets. Jets. They're 4-3. Okay, dead to rights after the second play of Week 1, right when Aaron Rodgers goes down, right?
Real.
So they are finding ways like that defense. Like obviously they're not winning games because of their offensive proficiency, right? They're in the quadrant of woe as far as offense goes, right? But again, defensively, they're tucked right behind here in the Seahawks. If you can plug them out there in the quadrant of elite bottom left there, but they're just finding ways to win. And luckily they've had some bad teams along the way, that they've had to beat. Like that Giants game was absolute piss poor, like just gouge your eyeballs out type of thing to watch.
It's like the most punts in an NFL game, and I forgot how long.
Yeah. Shout out. But again, how much longer does Rodgers actually stay out? How quickly can he come back? And if and when he does, if this team is still hovering around 500 or even a couple of games over, watch out. That could be very, very fascinating. So that would
maybe I'm sure that you can't buy low enough that, right now, only because there's no way they deflated it with just Aaron Rodgers going to every game, warming up before the game and just teasing everybody. But I mean, it's not a bad angle, and you're not crazy for that. And that team has been really interesting. It'll be really interesting to see if that's possible. They were sellers at the deadline. They sold Valdez-Scantling back to, or was it Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs, which was really interesting. Basically, how do you interpret that? Like, they don't need offensive weapons because they do, or they're like, it doesn't matter if we have them because we can't get them the ball. I'm not sure, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the Browns, man.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Do we have too much ego? You couldn't pick up the call and buy Jacoby Brissett for a $500K? I mean, that's what they're paying for Chase Young. Is that the Washington's DN that they traded?
Mm-hmm.
His salary is $500,000.
Chase Young, yeah.
Tell me Jacoby's really? Not making something similar around
That's
that.
Crazy.
Like, it's probably more just he's a veteran, but like, come on. What are we talking about?
Luckily for them, they probably have a get-right game here against the Cardinals coming up. Cardinals starting a rookie after trading with Josh Dobbs now.
But they're going to have to stay with Walker. I mean, Deshaun's injured.
Deshaun isn't. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not ideal 100%, but it's a Charlie Foxtrot. There's no doubt about it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Who does really?
That team is scary good with a quarterback.
Yeah. And speaking of quarterback, can I say I just want to put on the watch label? I'm waiting till he gets enough of a sample size to get plotted. But Will Levis, I mean, I'm waiting till he gets 100 passes or whatever the minimum is. I want to see where he plots with his efficiency versus volatility, because that guy seems like a true gunslinger. And I'm curious to see how that works out in Tennessee.
How many did I put the minimum? I think I put it at 20. Yeah, he should be on here.
Is it 20? Oh,
it could be whatever we want. We're in control. Is he on here? He should be on here. I reran it. He's probably in the quadrant of elite only because I don't see him though. Do you guys see
him?
I
do not either.
No, I don't see him.
But let's see. Did he? I'm assuming he had 20 passes last game.
Yeah, he would have had 20 passes. I'll have to read.
Wait. It's attempts, right? It's not completions, right? It's attempts. It has to be attempts, right?
Yeah, it should be attempts.
Yeah. He had 29 last game.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know where he's at. He should be on here. I'll rerun the numbers and get him to you.
Data. Oh, shout out. Okay, how about some NFC teams breakdown real quick? So you talked about Dallas. Who the hell are they? Like, seems like a reoccurring theme for them annually. Frankly, like they play up to competition, they play down to competition. They're all over the board, and then who knows, when the dust all settles, they'll probably just get kicked out in the first round again. At least one can hope as a Cowboys hater. But Yeah, I feel you, man. Like it's really tough to tell. Again, another litmus test. This is their first matchup coming up here this weekend against the Eagles. So we'll find out pretty quickly. But you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, and speaking of quarterbacks, though, to his credit, Dak Prescott pretty firmly in the quadrant of elite.
Yeah,
I
left
mean,
ball top.
he's all the Dak haters out there saying, "Oh, he can't get the job done," and like blah blah blah. Yes, sometimes, and in fact, many years for his career, he's more volatile than average. Pick six or touchdowns type of guy it can be. And last year was one of those high variance years. He led the league and tied for the league picks. Right. This year, no, different story. So, yeah, they might just be that team that kind of flip flops every week. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, classic.
I don't know who's number one in the NFC. It's got to be the Eagles, right?
Yep.
At this point, I would, agreed.
Yeah, because it was Eagles and 49ers a couple weeks ago, and then 49ers have lost 3 straight. So yeah.
And still, even for being number one overall, like, offensively speaking, Eagles, like, props up. Like AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts connection is just on fire. Like, what is it? 6 weeks in a row now he's had 125 receiving yards, like some crazy record that he's on pace for. So, but that's again, crazy. Defensively, still relatively median. So they haven't, I guess, realized their full capacity or potential, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah. Well, so I'll say that they're median, but they have a much harder schedule this year. So I think that's actually kind of impressive. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to dick ride here, but going into this year, this is a lot tougher of a task than they had last year. So the fact that they are median, sneaking into that quadrant of elite, I think just shows this is a really good team. A la KC. Right. This is a team that's good enough to get it done when it counts, where it counts. And I'm excited to see where this team goes.
Yeah. And then Hurts, is he injured? That's to me, the $1 million question here. I like, it looks like there's something going on. They definitely are not running him in the same way, but yeah, I mean, they eked out that win against Washington. Like, I don't know. This team is interesting. I'm not quite a buyer yet, but if you look at some of like they shoot off the like converting third downs is insane, and we think that that's a predictive signal. We have that in our model. We think that, and we not only do we think, we measure it to be a predictive signal. And they are by far and away the best team at converting and sustaining drives on third down, converting them.
Push, baby. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although, one of them failed. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah. They finally had one fail at the goal line, no less. That was funny. It was funny to see. But
now, speaking of interesting teams, though, the Falcons here, and this is one where I stand by this. I think the Falcons got better with the backup quarterback in Heineke coming in. He's proven he can win games all throughout his tenure in Washington. And you add him to the mix where you don't need him to be a crazy gunslinger, just be somewhat like essentially a la Brock Purdy, just be a system guy with Bijan and Algier and London, who with injury and whatnot. But he's got weapons. I'm imagining how good this Falcons team could be. And Seth, you said it last week. You said, hey, if Ritter can get to the average EPA per play line, this is a scary team. I think Taylor's going to get you there.
Yeah. So instead of him getting there, they just said, just start a different quarterback. Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever, however you get it, you get it. I get it. I'll take it. Right. I'll take it.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, again, 8 weeks through, halfway through the season, man. Yeah. Niners again, like
our darling Kirk Cousins, look at him move into the quadrant of elite in the worst.
At the worst possible time.
I feel bad. Like, it's fun to talk shit, but it's not fun when somebody actually gets hurt. like,
yeah,
he was playing good too. Like, you could see where they ended up. Like, they were finally actually becoming the team that they have been. Like, this timing is everything.
Timing is everything. But hey, they traded for Josh Dobbs. I don't know. Like, I'm a Cardinals fan here. I saw Josh Dobbs play for 8 games. He's probably going to let you go 2-5, the rest of the way, type of thing. Who knows? The under win total is alive. I'll just say that, unfortunately for
Yeah,
injury
that is
reasons,
true.
but
If you're gonna have tickets, that is a nice ticket to own right now. I mean, again though, coming down to the blunder, well, I'm assuming Jimmy G would have been bought by them. I'm assuming.
yeah, it's so fascinating.
But
Yeah,
maybe I'm
because
not. While we were
I don't.
talking, I updated it. There you go. There's your boy Will Levis, Steve. He's not
Yeah.
Where's
quite
he at?
firmly in the quadrant of elite. He's right on the border of the volatility, but he's definitely in the quadrant of elite from an EPA per play. Um, obviously, a lot of explosives in that game. So from a per play basis, he's not super duper efficient. But yeah, I mean, in his young career, he looked interesting. I would
Good
say
stuff.
if we can back up one slide here, pass funnel. Falcons here, right? They're a perfect pass funnel team. So, was this just a great matchup for him to get his first game? Who did they play? The Steelers this week?
The Titans, on Thursday night,
Yeah. So you can see that it's a bit of a different situation there for the pass efficiency. I think Minka
right.
Fitzpatrick might be out in this game, but yeah, may get results may vary.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Are we going back to the well? Who does Tampa Bay play this week?
That's a great
The
question.
Bucks play. Are they on? No, they played. They played Thursday night. So they played the Texans. Yeah.
Dude. I mean, it's not even about calling shots. Like, this is the pass funnels are so powerful. The game plan for Buffalo was like, we're gonna throw the hell out of this ball. I mean, Josh Allen and co. I mean, they threw the ball probably 10 times more in that game than they did in any other game. I think you want to use pass funnels when you can, and I think potentially Stroud and co. may be a good opportunity here to not only target Stroud and his receptions, yards, or whatever you want, but then the wide receivers. They're not auto bets. You want to be able to identify value. I found that using identifying the pass funnel teams and then using the unabated prop simulator is like a great combo. Why? Because you're modeling out EV plays for a play in which the market probably is not factoring in the angle, and the angle is these teams are going to have to throw a lot. So if it's already an EV play without that angle being in it, then it's going to be boosted, in my opinion.
And to further that point, let's see where
Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud is. Where is he? Oh yeah, he's from. Yeah, there he is in the quadrant of elite. So yeah, I mean we've kind of seen it. He's passed the eye test for certain, right? But then you measure where he's at so far, and yeah, I think there's a lot of teeth. There's a lot of teeth to that angle. So
can Hoyer and Trubisky be opposite? These guys, so wild. So wild. Purdy, though. Look at Purdy. I think the 49ers is the defense right now is their issue. And look at there's your boy, Steve Taylor Heineke. Look at him.
Wait, where's he at?
He's right next to Brock Purdy. He's a little tiny.
There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go.
Hey, man, look, I mean, we got tickets for over wins. I'll take it. I mean, we're gonna talk about it in a little bit. It bumps the numbers with Heineke. It bumps the numbers way up with Heineke.
Let's go.
Speaking of bumping numbers, though, Model had a pretty good weekend.
It's been having a pretty good season. Fuck a weekend.
True that. Don't want to undersell it. Undersell it.
I don't want to oversell it. We're not going to win at 62%. I think now we're like at 63%, something probably unsustainable. But the reality is, even if we saw variance here, I mean, we're still living La Vida Loca. I mean, this was a very interesting weekend. I was a little shaky. I'm not going to lie about this weekend. I don't know. The Saints finally came alive offensively. That was really interesting. The Jets pushed for us for no reason. I mean, this is what but this is the reality. When you're betting into edges, like, things just happen to go your way. You know what I mean? That Dolphins play, I think the early market got that wrong. The early market got that wrong. I don't know what you were buying in New England there. What was everybody super psyched about? That's what I couldn't really figure out. Mm-hmm. What was the faith and why that thing moved through the 10? I mean, that thing ended up getting to 8.5. So I mean, even a little bit of late money, I don't want to say it's wrong because I want to respect the game, but like, I think that this should have been at 10 or 10.5. Like, I think the open was the correct number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think it's an overreaction to that Bills game. That's all I can think of, right? Like, to your point,
Yeah.
what are you buying at that price?
Because but the New England was super banged up, like super banged up.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not trying to say like we know all, but like this is why we use a model. We use the model 4%, but when we recognized early in the week that this got bought too low, it was at, I think we got it at 9. There were 9.5s for a long time. It went back to 9.5, then 9, then 8.5, then back to 9, but then I think closing right around 8, 8.5.
Right.
The Raiders just shit the bed, and obviously they shit the bed so bad that they literally they burnt the house down because it was so bad. Eagles, that was a sweat, and then it wasn't.
yeah,
Except it was. And shout out Ron Rivera, who goes by Riverboat Ron Rivera, who needs to get a new nickname because the fact that he took no risk going for 2. Shout out to him. I
yes.
couldn't be happier. But man, you should have seen me. I wish I was live streaming. The minute that they got the first and he ran in, I was screaming up and down. Go down,
Yeah.
go down, go down. You got to slide there. You had the game was over. And what happened? They gave the ball back. They scored for no reason. They almost gave up the cover.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that was sweaty for sure. And then Niners, we talked about it. Burrow's back, like that just didn't have a chance really from the jump.
And I think, and quite frankly, I texted you guys, like, I'm happy to get some 49ers losses for Purdy's and bring his numbers down. If you swapped out Purdy for Darnold, this thought this was a great spot for the Bengals. And I think it really had a lot to do with the fact that Purdy's numbers are so inflated. It thinks, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, it thinks he's God. And quite frankly, up until recently, that team is, when he started, has played like that. So I'm excited for the model to get some of these losses, especially at this point in the season.
So there's that angular perspective too. But I mean, I think people are very quickly already forgetting he's like, by number of starts, he might still technically be a rookie.
Yeah.
How many games did he start last year?
He just became a non-rookie via our start criteria, which is basically 6 home and 6 away starts. So he has like 4 or 5, if that, starts under his belt via our model with his numbers, and that's what makes it even harder. We went through this like a couple weeks ago, where it's just like, what do you do? I mean, we're adding more and more games, and that's all we can do. But like, I'm excited. I don't want to say I was like rooting for the model because I want to win money, but like, if of all the games we were going to lose, love that that's the one where we get to have some real data for Brock Purdy and kind of come down to earth. And then can the Saints play like this week in and week out?
Yeah.
Like, this is the first like offensive, like they were going down the field, like they were just scoring points.
That was relatively surprising. One last thing I was going to say on Purdy is that yes, they didn't cover, and yes, Purdy was a relative big factor in that, but it's 2 or 3 weeks in a row now where you look at where he's been measured and you look at his efficiency stats, and he has not been the Purdy of late season last year or early season this year. So to that end, I think
and Debo's out. And
Debo's out. Trent Williams has been out.
Yeah. So there's reasons, but like the problem is, like, I want my model to be learning like, hey, this is a normal guy. Like, let's get some normal data in for this guy. Because it doesn't know all those other pieces. It just knows, is this Brock Purdy? And then all the other team stats. Right. And so, it doesn't know Debo's at, doesn't know all these kind of nuances. And then Jags are back. I don't know if they ever left, but I guess in my mind, I was, I was being a dumb person.
You just didn't know they were there.
Yeah, I guess that's a way of saying it, but they looked really good. And then, further the question of who is Pitt, but the model is calling its shots, and it's doing a good job. It's doing a good job. And quite frankly, even not all, but some of the games that we've bet were good bets. Quite frankly, not all of them.
Sure. And I will say one thing back to your Purdy is guy thing. He went 10-0 before this 3-game slide. He was literally undefeated as a starter.
Yeah.
So, like, to some point, what are you supposed to believe?
Right? I don't. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. No. Exactly. And quite frankly, they should have beat the Browns. Like, that was a missed kick. That had nothing to do with him. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Eagles to me are the number 1 team right now. Them in Kansas City. I think Kansas City and their offense defense combo is a different version of them. and we're going to talk about here in a second. But yeah, really curious. But yeah, shout out to the model. I think, what is it now? It's like 23 and 12 and 1.
Officially
20.
23, 11 and 1.
I don't think this has. I think this is one. It's 12 because I didn't add the Raiders
Monday
loss.
night
So
game.
it's 23, 12 and 1. So yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, this looks good. And yeah, it's got a number of games. We're going to talk about one on here that's a bit of perplexing, and I think we'll just kind of tease out the answer as a group live here because it is a nuanced thing, and we want to discuss it with y'all because it isn't perfect, and I think it's worth showing you a little bit behind the curtains. But I guess starting with the Chiefs, like this is now moved against us though. The market has now moved this to 1.5 and 1 at the market makers. A little interesting. I haven't had a chance to model out, and I don't really know a good way to do this. There's now like all these different theories on when to leave. Do you leave early in the week, like right away? The Dolphins left right after the New England game. Chiefs, I believe, are going, and they're going to have 2 practices on Thursday, Friday, so much later in the week. And there's different schools of thought here. Obviously, it's very difficult to model the effect of that because you can't go back and you don't know which you don't have an itinerary for every team to say like who left when and what the effect is. But it does look like the teams that are over there quicker tend to do better.
Which in this case, it is the Dolphins who left.
That would be the
Chiefs.
Dolphins. Yeah.
Right.
I don't have, that's anecdotal. I have no way of measuring that. You can see the model thinks this is a neutral field, and it is. The problem is it's a neutral field in Germany, so it's not very neutral. It's neutrally bad for both teams.
Yeah.
Okay, so our numbers. So Chiefs, our number puts at -5. Again, they play the Dolphins. That's now at 1.5. Patriots, our number puts that at 4. Yeah. That opened at 2.5. And the Patriots play the Commanders, who again just kind of went on a mini fire sale themselves, getting rid of their 2 best.
Love that bet even
players.
more.
Yeah, and so that feels pretty good.
Move through the 3, and that's at 3.5. I did confirm Right Angle Sports gave this out as well. They were on the 2.5. So this was a Right Angle Sports play for their members.
And then the next one, Steelers, our number puts it at -5. A caveat or nuance here. We ran the numbers, and this assumed that originally Mitch Trubisky was going to start. And obviously that is, by all accounts, I don't think Tomlin or anyone else has officially said it, but Kenny Pickett's like, yeah, I'm playing. Like, stop asking me. Like,
and this is really interesting. If you use Kenny Pickett, it says no value here. If you use Trubisky, it likes Trubisky to cover by 5. Is that confusing? Yes and no. Trubisky has many, many, many more games that you can model, and Kenny Pickett has a lot fewer. And there's a little bit of noise in Kenny Pickett's signal. When you think about it, a lot of this value is being derived through, putting the number past the 3 or through the 3. And so you're basically getting the bump that you think you're going to win or potentially win by a field goal. It doesn't think Kenny Pickett's going to do that. So the question becomes, this had open at 2.5. Kenny Pickett was slated to start. The market moved this to 3. It moved from 2.5 to 3, which is good. We got the 2.5. We saw CLV. That's a really big move. Then the Kenny Pickett news came out, and it's moved back from 3 to 2.5. So the market agrees with our analysis that if Kenny Pickett starts, this is kind of a worse spot for the Steelers. So the question becomes, do we bet it? Do we basically cash out, or do we hedge? That's a very viable option right now. I don't know. Let's get your guys' thoughts. Like my thought is we don't have an edge. If Pickett plays, we should not bet it. There's a little bit of risk. We could put a little risk on here and say, well, we don't know for sure Kenny Pickett's going to play, and the fact that Trubisky might start, we know that Ticket's going to immediately move to 3 because it already did under that news. So just let it ride. I don't know.
Yeah, my 2 cents. Build a model. You follow the data. You follow the numbers. Right. Try to win more. You try to lose less while doing it. So in this case, if we're modeling out that there is no edge, no alpha with Pickett under center, my propensity is to cash out if you have any tickets.
Yeah. Steve, how about you?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think there's a lot of unknown going into this, both on the Steelers side and then, as if I understand correctly, we're really modeling Levis as a rookie. Like he's not
Yeah.
Levis, he's just
No,
a,
he's
a
rookie.
rookie
Yeah,
here.
he's rookie
Right.
Levis.
Yeah, which full disclosure, we've done that and we have been doing that. We've been doing that for Brock Purdy, we've been doing that for Kenny Pickett until just very recently. Right.
Yeah,
Until he got
and
through,
Stroud and all the
right,
rookies. Like, and this has
right.
happened since the beginning of the model. Like it's always does this.
Exactly. Right. And so, there's nothing new there per se, but going back to this whole what are we really betting into and how much of an edge can we expect to have here? I think that's definitely a fair assessment as listen, here's what we have. There's a bunch of uncertainty going into that. If you're listening to this and you had us, you follow us, you have the Steelers 2.5, it's your money, you do what you want to do. But I think it's a very reasonable thing to say, hey, listen, either like you said, Seth, place the other side to just cancel or just lose out on the VIG or cash out if the math is the same and kind of just go from there. Let it fall where it falls.
Yeah. Or I'll only give FanDuel one plug for this only reason. They're the only book that until the game, if as long as the odds do not change, it's the same spread, they'll give you even money cash out.
Ooh.
It does. I don't lie. It does sway me because we do bet early and there's situations that happen like this. So I can cash out with no loss of VIG. And I think sometimes that's a pretty big deal to have that out without losing any VIG. So I agree with you guys. I think we should just avoid this bet. We just don't understand what our edge is. I don't even know. Like, I mean, you want to get away from this conjecture. Like, I don't even know if I want to be a buyer at Pickett or I'm sorry, at Trubisky. Of course we would be. We already were. We were buying it. The market agreed with us, but we just don't know what we're buying here. And we can very well be buying a game where we actually have no edge versus a game we do. And the probability of those two right now doesn't seem like we can actually come up with any forecast of who is who, what is what. So I think it's a no bet. And we were already able to kind of see value with Patriots. And then I guess the last game, Saints, this moved rapidly, unfortunately, due to the Bears also in a very similar house fire of their own. Maybe it's a snow fire over there in Chicago, but yeah. So I guess that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and not make this a bet. So I would not bet Steelers -2.5. To all the people that were our board members, you should only be losing VIG here, if that. And of course, like Steve said, if you want to let it roll. But you're really hoping that you see Trubisky on that field if you really want to see or think you have an edge in that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then that's Saints. The Saints is the last one. The market is buying this. We put the number so the true open here was 7. We run the model Sunday night, and we run the model Sunday night for these exact situations. The games that are happening Sunday, they pull those games down, but the minute those games are over and then through the morning until the market makers reopen it, whatever the look ahead line is still available. So it's something that even if you're a board member, make sure you're paying attention on Sunday night, because this will now be the second game where this scenario happened. We had the Miami Dolphins, I think 2 weeks ago, when it was 9.5, I think -9.5 against the Carolina Panthers, and then it moved through. I think it ended up opening at 11. This is another one where it was at 5.5, which is a slam dunk bet, and then ended up opening at 7. So if it opened at 7, we put the true number at 8. That's where our model puts it. But obviously, getting the 5.5, which we were able to get, puts quite a lot of value and is a very different bet than where we sit today. If I'm not mistaken, before here I hopped on live, there are 8.5 9s in the market.
Ooh.
Let's see. 8.5s.
Yeah.
8.5s. Yeah.
People are not buying the Bears
all the way through.
Yeah. So I don't know how they get to the 8.5 9 number. Our model doesn't get that high. Puts this number basically at 8. But again, we wouldn't be betting it at that number. 5.5. If for those of you that were able to get it, that's a good ticket to have.
Yep. So relative to last year, or excuse me, last week, what was there? Seven plays officially?
High volume
week. Yeah. So a little more in line with the sort of average, if you will, this week, with only 3 official technical plays on the model. But nonetheless, again, that's why you build out a model to identify edges where you can, and to also rule out games where you do not have one. And that's just as valuable, frankly.
October of 2023 was my most profitable month as a semi-professional sports bettor I've had. I was able to pick up almost 20-ish units. And that's the combination of NFL and college. Just to put it in perspective, we've got down around 175 games this season, and we're profitable through those. So I mean, the volume has definitely been a good thing. NFL has obviously been really well, going really well for us. But yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about trusting the process, trusting the model, making sure, again, you double check your process, understand your process. For all of the haters that I'm sure some of you are paying attention to us, and you're just because you want to hate on us. Like, we went through this process a year ago and we failed, and we went and looked in the mirror and said, how do we get better? It was around this time last year where we're like, okay, we need to build an EPA based database. We need to get better data. And when we're sitting here a year later, it's night and day difference between using our own databases, using our own proprietary stuff, and that actually bearing out in, our win rate. So I would just say shout out to us.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's what's up, baby. That's what's up. A lot of season to go still, but yeah, 100%. I think no shame in
I don't think we'll continue to win.
It, frankly,
we will not continue to win at a 62% rate in NFL. I don't think that's the case. The highest number we've seen in the back testing season was 60%. Again, I think that's still an outlier. We're shooting for 55%. That's really the number we think we can get. But if we can get that over, let's say 100 NFL games, that's really good profit for us. So yeah, we'll just continue to ride this wave and make good decisions. And I think that's more the thing we should pat ourselves on the back. Our process has been really good this season, in my opinion.
And you said 175 games between the two, between
college
and
NFL,
right?
NFL. Yeah, college and NFL.
So
much more volume in college.
Yeah, for sure. So ballpark, we're probably looking at, when it's all said and done, probably near over 300. Yeah, I would say close to 300 total.
And
games.
we're right at 54% between the two. So college is pulling us down, which is fine. Right. All good.
Yeah. And there's a reason. I mean, I know this is the NFL board meeting, but there is a rhyme, or there's a reason to the rhyme, however that saying goes, why I think collectively between us, we are betting more units per observation in the NFL than we are in college. One, that's a function of frequency and number of observations. There's just way more games, naturally way more outcomes, right? But in terms of our edge cases and how we identify value is also a little nuanced.
Yeah, our model right now is definitely we can beat opening spreads in NFL, like, unequivocally. And I believe we can do that in college. We're just trying to figure out what is optimal for us, because the game is very different, right? If you think about it, we're betting NFL. Okay, there's 32 teams. Okay. Well, then college, that question is so much more nuanced. Okay, there's different divisions. There's, FBS, FCS. Then within that, there's Power 5, and like how those things kind of all interact and what they look like and what can you model well, what do you struggle with? Like, our model really gets Power 5 right, but then it kind of struggles against MAC and all these other things. So, and we're doing that now. We're in the lab right now and improving college, and we'll do the same thing again through the NFL. There are things that I know we can get better about the NFL. And, my goal is how do we become the syndicate that can bet Thursday, right? How do we become that good? What information do we need to add to the model? What do we need to build on? And so that's where we're going. That's where we're headed. And I guess shout out to all the people that are on the journey with us, because we hope that you can see we're putting so much effort and time and, just everything into building this. And it's nice when you see the dividends. I mean, it's nice that our followers are getting a 62% ROI on their NFL picks, because whether you know it or not, that's very, very, very difficult to do.
Yes. Yeah. Please take our word for it. If not, read Logic of Sports Betting, read Interception, read some other books that are out there that people talk about. We're right there. Exhibit A, Exhibit B. That is it's very difficult to win at this rate. And again, this is only betting. Just kind of one last maybe point on this. We're only betting straights, right? I know our followers know this. We never tout parlays, teasers or things like that where odds get inflated or
although we would have won a Lamborghini because we would have had a 9-leg parlay that would have hit. So what's that gonna say?
Yeah, joke's on us, I guess, right? Maybe we should start.
Steve, you had some parlay action back in the day. What's a 9-legger on 9 straight bets pay?
Oh man,
you know those off the top of
nine minus 110 odds.
Yeah. A little quick math. I'm trying to think. Like a 3-legger plays like 650. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. I was saying. Well, and then with the sports book, it's 600. With what they're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we don't have. We don't have nine plays in college or NFL this week.
No, of course.
Yeah.
No, we have more.
2. Hold on, 1, 2. I just want to do this real quick, just because I'm really curious, and then we can.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably
5,
like
6, 7,
plus 10,000,
8, 9,
$33,585.
Oh
for
my gosh!
Yeah.
Okay, so not a Lambo. So $100 would have got us like a good a Yukon.
Hey, I can use
a $500 unit though. And now we're talking. Now maybe we can get the Lambo.
All right.
No, but you're right. Yeah, straight bets. Whatever you guys do what you want with the information. Quite frankly, our goal is we are semi-professionals right now on the way to trying to be a professional syndicate. That is what our goal is. Period. Point blank. Obviously, we're not going to be doing that goal if we're betting parlays with no edge, with no real edge, right? So for us, the holds are too impossible to beat. It's not worth our time. For the people that are
now,
using
if we want to have longevity in the modern sports books, maybe we should bet some parlays.
Sure, that's true. And you can definitely get those different types of strategies on from the book Interception. Ed Miller, Matthew Davidow. Shout out to both of them. But and there's a whole strategy they go into about correlated parlays and trying to strategize that and take advantage of that. And so I don't want to speak poorly about parlays in general, but the DGens out there that are listening to this, you know who you are. Try to be a little bit better about getting down straight bets and maybe sprinkling in those parlays a little bit less, but that's here nor there.
Yep. All right, boys, shout out. Good weekend ahead in NFL, excuse me. A lot of good matchups. Relatively small card on the model, but all good. We march on, doesn't matter. We get the value, we lock it in, we're all good. So until next week, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in. Again, please, if you're still around and listening to me speak these very words, please give us a like and a subscribe to our channel. Very much would appreciate it. It helps us grow tremendously. So, Seth, Steve, it was a real, man. We'll see you both next week for next week's edition of the board meetings.
Yep.
See ya.
Take care, everybody.